Okay, so welcome to the Canucks Chatter podcast. This is kind of a pop-up episode. We've been quiet since Game 7, Canucks Oilers, which was a few weeks ago. We've had some time to decompress, cool down as we can, I
I-
guess.
Ish.
Ish, yeah. I mean, Twitter has it. Twitter's never gonna stop going. But yeah, welcome to the show. I'm Rafal. That's Victor. So first off, we didn't have we normally have a post game stream in the playoffs every Canucks game. We did pretty much every game during the playoffs. But Game 7 we didn't because you were at Game 7. I don't think I've had a chance to even ask you this. How was that game like? Like being in the arena, the fans, the energy. Like what was the? I mean, we know the result, but what was the like experience like during the game?
Uh, Beginning of the game, throughout most of the game, it was pretty positive. Energy was there. The crowd, even though when and the score, the crowd tried to lift them up, and once they got down big, it sucked the air out of the game. My friend who went to the game with me and who we share our season tickets, and he left after the second period. He was angry. He's
Oh,
a he's a big diehard like so,
all
but
right.
he just was just the frustration, and he couldn't take it. He didn't want to go through the heartbreak, and I suffered through it. I paid a lot of money for those tickets, so
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to stick with it.
If I'm there, I'm
And
not leaving. I don't care what the score is.
yeah, and it was classic being a Canucks fan. Heartbreak, and then they give you hope, and then
Hmm.
nothing happens.
Yeah. Well, it was. I mean, it didn't seem close, but then the third period, and um,
They
yeah. I
shot the
mean,
puck more. They
yeah.
might have had a chance to win.
Hmm. Yeah, it was close. It almost like how close it was at the end. It almost felt like maybe they'll get that third one to try to get it to overtime.
It
But
it did. We thought, oh my God, there's a chance they're gonna tie it up, and then oh
yeah. Um. Okay, so so that's it's been a couple weeks. The conference finals are over. We're in the Stanley Cup finals. We'll get to the Stanley Cup finals and some other teams and all that kind of stuff a little bit later. But so overall, I think we share the same sentiment that the Canucks, the season was a success, right? I mean, I know it's hard to call a season a success when you don't win the Stanley Cup, but looking at where Vancouver was, just a year ago compared to now, um, one making it to a game 7, one win away from the conference finals, one goal game. It's a success. And you look at a lot of the players that had great seasons or especially great playoffs. Some of the pickups they had: Lynn Holmes, Zadorov. Joshua had his moments. Besser scoring goals. Yeah, just a lot of success. When you look back at this season, like what's your biggest takeaway from it?
the resolve and the heart, the structure they played with all year. They didn't change very much. They were from game one and to game seven of the playoffs. They held their ground. They played well. They never gave up. It was a consistent season. At the beginning of the year, I was just hoping for playoffs, so I didn't
Mm,
have any higher expectations. And being a longtime Canucks fan, I didn't want to get my heart broken, so I just kept with expectations. Even when they were first place in the whole league, I was like, nope, we're sticking with a with just making the playoffs. When they did, I was good. Even when they made
mhm.
the playoffs, don't care if they lose to Nashville. Playoffs is good. And taking Edmonton, who's a cup contending team at the beginning of the year, having the best player in the league there, taking the game seven, everything sucked to well to Edmonton. Yeah, anytime you lose to Edmonton sucks. But what can you do? When the Canucks fans and players are a bunch of complainers, and losing to a team whose star players never complain, and their fans and media never complain, you just gotta suck it up and take it.
Yeah. Um, I'm definitely a little, I'm more impartial than you. You're a big Canucks fan. But like just seeing the Twitter battles and all that, even still going on now, is hilarious to me. Um, there's a lot of from both sides, a lot of toxic fans from both sides. But I
Yeah.
guess at the end of the day,
What
it's that's what makes sports fun, right? Like and heartbreaking and frustrating and everything. But that's just how it is. And and even the media getting a part of it. I remember I think it was Elliot Friedman in an interview after the series was over said, I've been around the game a long time and covered a lot of series and things like that. He's like that one. That one is one of the most memorable series I've been a part of, just because of not even what was happening on the ice, what was happening off the ice. And yeah, I agree. That was cool on my end to not have a huge dog in one
I'll
team.
bet. I'll bet. Even though Vancouver lost, I feel like they're still in Edmonton fans. Like, this is 2 rounds later, and Edmonton fans are still talking about Vancouver.
Well, Vancouver fans are still
Like,
talking about Edmonton.
Vancouver lost. They don't have an opponent to talk about. So Edmonton
Yeah, but I mean, like,
had
some,
Dallas. They should
yeah,
concentrate on their team being in the finals instead of trash talking us, who's out. Yeah, we're better. We're supposed to be better. We lost.
yeah, I guess. But I mean, like, it's both sides. I think it's one of those things where it's like it's not me, it's you, and that's what I think both sides feel like. Oh, we're the problem. Like, you're the
For me,
problem. I'm not the problem.
if my team's in the Stanley Cup final, I'm building my energy on hitting Florida, not
Yeah.
talking about your
Oh, that's
second
the
round
fans.
opponent.
Yeah, that's fans though, right? Like, the team doesn't give a crap, right? It's just
Like
the
Luke
fans.
Gadzik, the Edmonton fan.
Yeah. See, that one was like he just has like that's a tough one because what he did was obviously wrong. You shouldn't do that, right? You're a national. You got to know that you're a national broadcaster, and I'm sure if he had that chance, he'd probably come out and say, like, what I did was a mistake. I think he got it's if you're a reporter covering the Edmonton Oilers, what he said is fine, right? You're stirring up something, you're saying some stuff, but when you're a national reporter, you're even though you're a fan of one team, you still have to present yourself a specific way, and I think with from I think it was Elliot Friedman. I heard him somewhere else just saying, like, some of the stuff that he was getting sent was like way
Yeah,
over the line.
yeah,
So
that stuff isn't cool.
no, it's not, which I think has probably just got him, like he said in that podcast, he was fired up. So he must have just, allowed his emotions to get the best of him and said something that he shouldn't have. And that's whatever comes from that. That's, his fault. And I can see both sides, but yeah, you can't go out like, some of the stuff is fine to say, but yeah, he definitely crossed the line.
Like, Kevin BX is a Canucks guy, and he doesn't. He'll show his Canuck colors, but he'll also say bad things about them as well.
Hmm.
He's he's very neutral when he's on air about talking about the Canucks.
Yeah.
Neutral, positive Canucks towards the
Yeah.
Canucks.
Yeah.
He doesn't hide it, but he'll say if the Canucks are doing poorly, he will show it.
I think that's too, like, I think just Bieksa, just in general, the type of person he is, he's got a thick skin. Like, people can say that I don't think many people say it, but if some, crazy fans got the opinion, oh, Bieksa sucks on air and blah, 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 he's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me. I mean, that's also what Elliot Friedman was saying. He's like, that's the guy. And I think with Luke, it's like, it's just, he's new to the game and not used to having people say these things, it's everyone's wired differently. He made a mistake, and we'll see what happens. I don't think he's a bad analyst or commentator.
He's really good.
Yeah, but he's
pretty decent. So I have no issues with it. I don't like him the bad mouthing and dissing. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that's it's across the line, right? Like,
yeah,
got to know your position. But
Edmonton fans were saying we're saying a lot of bad stuff about Besser wanting that they were glad all that stuff happened to him with his personal life. Like, oh, come on.
It's just bad, stupid stuff. Both, like, just bad fans in general. I think. I also, like, on Twitter, because I'm. It's funny when I look at it. I also, like, I closely watched, like, Toronto, right, the Maple Leafs, and like their fans are
the first round losers.
Yeah, the first round loser. It's funny because they're like fans, or like it's like anytime they lose or something bad happens, there's some fans that attack the other fan base, but for the most part, they just attack their own team. They're just like, I had enough of this. This is the same thing, They're like, there's no like, they're not like, oh, Boston, blah blah blah. They're just like, oh, that's that's how it is. Like, well,
I felt like Edmonton had really thin skin. Like,
well, you know what? The
thing
that I will say is, though, I'm sure you have, like, everyone gets a different feed on Twitter, right? Like, so, like, it's just like I saw, like, on my feed, the Canucks fans seem a lot more worse than Edmonton fans. But I
Yeah.
also am aware that that's probably just my feed, right? Because when I was like, that's where my brain goes to, like, oh, like if Toronto was ousted by like a rival, which they have been many times, they just talk about their own team and get upset. Vancouver, a lot of the Vancouver fans or people on Twitter, they're still watching this Stanley Cup final and commenting on Edmonton every game, you know. So,
Yeah,
but
well, we like making fun of Edmonton. We
yeah,
always have, and that's never going to change.
yeah,
And just like I said earlier, we don't have a dog in the fight anymore.
mm,
And we are cheering for Florida. We're,
mm.
we want them to win. We definitely don't want Edmonton.
Yeah,
We'll just
that's
keep
makes
making
sense.
fun of Edmonton. They're not Canada's team. Florida is Canada's team.
Yeah, I don't
Country's
think.
behind you, Florida.
Yeah, I don't. When people say like, oh, you got to rally behind the Canadian team, like that just never happens. You know what I mean?
No.
Like if Toronto's making a run, everybody hates Toronto, you know. I mean,
Yeah,
outside of Toronto, right? Like they're no one's following them or anybody. Like
yeah.
why? There's no reason to. And if you want to, that's fine too. Like whatever you want to do, but it's not. It's not like we should all accept it, right?
There's only one Canada's team, and that they're red and white. They play for it's Team Canada.
Yeah.
That's the only Canada's team. And no, no other Canadian team wants another Canadian team to win.
Yeah.
They want their team to win. The
Right.
Islanders
Yeah.
aren't wanting the Rangers to win.
Of course
Tampa
not.
right now isn't going for Florida to win.
Um. So if we're okay, we'll move on to because I mean, kind of now, you know, now that Vancouver's out, a lot of shift is basically coming to off season, right? What's going to happen at the draft, the free agency is probably the biggest one for Vancouver. You look at, um, you know, they had quite a few notable free agents, right? You got Joshua, you got the players that picked up Zadorov, Lindholm. From some of the stuff I'm reading out there, from some of the insiders, it seems like Lindholm is a long shot at this point. Just fitting him in. Zadorov, that's a possibility. It looks like from what I read this weekend, they're going to give maybe another final offer and see where that goes. And Joshua, it just depends. Like, I think Vancouver's looking at it like we'd love to have him back, but at a term and number that we feel comfortable. Because, I think that hopefully the days of overspending for a guy are over. But yeah, there's some flexibility and interesting things. Like, if there's one guy that you'd want them to really sign, who would that be for you? And Hronek, I didn't even
Hronek.
mention Hronek. Yeah, yeah.
It, it, he's they paid a ransom to get him.
Mm-hmm.
And he fit in great with Quinn Hughes at that top pair. Would I want him to be able to anchor a second pair? Yes, but the most important defenseman on the team is Quinn Hughes, and if he keeps working well with him, might as well. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Hronek struggled a bit in the second half, and the playoffs is the only thing noticeable he did really was saying Calgary's going on holidays in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would like it a little bit more. And his season-ending presser when he attacked Jeff Patterson, that wasn't very cool. Well,
No, especially when you're not available all the time at any time.
yeah, yeah, and Patterson came up with a right thing. It's like, hey, we gave you your space all year. Just be honest with us right now. And obviously, he was injured because he didn't take a slap shot for the whole second half of the year, and yeah, it soured the fan base on him a little bit, but
It's an important piece.
he's yeah. I with players, I'm always down for them to get their money. No issues with that. I just don't want my team sometimes to pay for those
Mm-hmm.
players. Like Tyler Myers is most likely coming back because he doesn't want to go anywhere. The team doesn't really. It'll just come down to what they can agree on.
Oh, do you think
Zadorov,
do you think $3 million keeps Tanev in or not Tanev? Sorry,
Myers.
Tyler Myers.
I think so.
Yeah, yeah. That's the number that I can see.
Maybe 3.5,
Yeah, a couple
3.25.
years, maybe. They're
Yeah,
gonna have to give him some term, like 2-3 years, right? I think.
yeah. I wouldn't go anything above 3.5.
Yeah,
And
yeah. For
Josh,
AV.
yeah, Joshua, you don't know what you're going to get with Joshua. He hasn't shown it outside of this year, really. Like the only people that's seen it, who saw this in him, was management, and he really only did it for 3/4 of the year. So it's tough
Yeah.
if he wants 4. Like I'm okay with somebody else taking him.
Like 4 million, or do you mean 4 years?
4 minutes, both.
Yeah, like that's a lot, right? Like I know he
Yeah,
had like almost like about 20 goals, right? Like
uh, close
or
to 20.
close to 20, yeah, 18 or something like that. Like it's tough. He's also what's a crazy stat that I think I saw the other day is that he still leads the playoffs in hits.
Oh,
Like that's
yeah,
how many hits he threw in the playoffs, which is pretty crazy.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I thought
so there's some value
18-year-old
to that.
Sam Bennett would be up there too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean he's still probably I think he's number 2, Sam Bennett right now. A little more tame than he was, but he's still Sam Bennett. But you know what? The thing is now Sam Bennett, man, you hate playing against him, but he's a hell of a player. You know,
Yeah,
you hate to
yeah,
say it, but he's good.
we've, we've been watching 18-year-old Sam Bennett for years cause ruckus,
Yeah, but he's always
and
been causing a
he's
ruckus.
still,
But I feel like offensively, like he never really found it like fully. Like it wasn't there consistently, and now he's like he's he's good. Like he still gets in your face. He hits you. He's a borderline cheap player for sure. Absolutely.
he
But
was a
yeah, he's
top 5 draft
effective.
pick for a reason.
Yeah.
People saw it in him, and then he 18-year-old Sam Bennett has just carved out a nice solid career there, and he's hasn't scored as much, but he gets enough points. And definitely has gotten better offensively since he's come to Florida than
Hmm.
when he was in Calgary.
Yeah. Well, it's that I don't know. It's that sunshine every day. Maybe you escape the cold from Calgary. Yeah. I don't know. Like I look at Joshua. Like it just depends because like Zadorov. Like if he's a $6 million guy for how many years? Like do you still are you okay with that or what do you think?
It's a door. It's so hard.
I know because it's like man, what he did last year, I'll pay 6 million for that, no problem. But that's
Yeah,
his first year he's really
yeah,
done that. So
yeah. There's that riverboat gambler style disappeared for the most part when he was here.
hmm
Because that was something that was always with him, where there was Buffalo, Colorado, Chicago, Calgary. He could cause trouble he could be a positive and negative, and
exactly.
the
Yeah.
negative stuff did
He
not
just
happen
cleaned
with him
up.
this year.
Yeah,
So
he cleaned it
yeah,
up, and that's like, okay, was that what we're getting moving forward, or like it's hard to say. That's a
yeah,
tricky one, even for because there's going to be teams lining up to sign him, and and what the
yeah.
report is, he
It's like
would be willing to take somewhat of a discount to stay in Vancouver. He liked Vancouver, so we'll see how
yeah,
that goes. But I think Vancouver, it's a negotiation. They're playing a hard ball, so I wouldn't be surprised if it does get done, though.
yeah.
Just because
I'd
you wait till
rather
the last minute
less give.
as a negotiation tactic.
I would give less term to give him more money. Yeah, or
Hmm.
if you're going to give him term, give him less money.
Yeah, I think he wants
I don't
term.
want to
I mean,
give term
everybody
and
wants some term.
yeah,
But
like there's no for anything 4.5. I would love that, but he doesn't
no, I
deserve
don't.
4. He deserves more than 4.
Yeah,
Four and
I
a
don't.
half.
I can't see that. Like maybe 5. Like if he asked for 5 times 5, would you do that?
Yeah, I would give him 5 for 5,
Yeah.
but he,
Mm.
he also deserves more than 5.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be that one's interesting to me. I think Joshua. It's like we'll see how that goes. Hronik. I mean,
Yeah,
he's an RFA, but like, wasn't the number at some point like talking about like being an 8? Like how does
yeah.
that? I don't
I
know
don't know.
about
He
that. He doesn't look like an eight
he
million
didn't
dollar
bring
guy.
enough offense in this. He brought no offense in the second half to deserve
Yeah,
8.
exactly.
His
Because at
defensive
8, you got to
partner
be.
his defensive partner is only 7.8, and he's going to be the most probable Norris Trophy winner.
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, a lot of stuff to figure out. There's also, again, if you don't spend the money on those guys, there's other guys that you can spend the money. I mean, there's, so much talk about Gensel, right? Like that's going to be an interesting play. I
This
mean, Reinhardt's out there,
He
but
is
Reinhardt
third
scored.
line center.
I mean, yeah,
50.
he scored
He's gonna
57, didn't
cost
he?
a lot.
Reinhardt,
I
something
don't know
like
the
that.
exact total, but he got a lot. And Teddy Bluger possibly needs to be re-signed as either a third or
Yeah,
fourth line center,
right.
because he's a better center than Pia Suter for sure.
Yeah,
Like Suter is
57.
definitely a jack of all trades. He is signed for still a regular cheap term. You can plug him in as a top 6 winger, a middle 6 winger. You can put him maybe as a third line center, but I feel his best job was probably as a middle 6 winger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that third center, because like I don't think like with Lindholm. even for his case, like I don't know if he wants to sign because he's like, I don't want to be a third line center, right? Like,
Yeah.
I
He
just
wasn't
don't know
playing
if it
third
makes
line
sense.
minutes though.
No,
He
he
was
wasn't. But I mean, like,
playing
I
top
think he
six.
wants a, yeah, he wants a bigger role though, right? Like, I think, but I mean, unless you give him enough money, he'll be like, okay, that's fine. But I don't think Vancouver is willing to
You
go
can
so high on
you
him.
can play him up and down. You can be a third line center, or you can put him on Pettersson's wing, or put Pettersson to the wing.
Hmm.
Well, he can be all over the place, but
So
he deserves a payday. He's probably the number one or number two center in the free agent market, and
yeah,
I have no hard feelings if he takes the money somewhere else. Go for it. He's earned it.
yeah, that's probably in my prediction. I think that's going to happen. Yeah, Sam Reinhart had almost 60 goals, 57 goals this year. That's going to be
Help me win my pool this year.
yeah, nice. Well, if you ever meet him one day, tell him that you owe him a dinner that he doesn't need because he makes millions of dollars.
Money's still on him.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah,
I only won $300.
Wonder what he's going to command in the market. Because I don't know.
He's probably eight and a half.
Yeah.
Unless you're Ovechkin, wingers don't
make as much.
Don't get as much. Like Marner, Ovechkin, Draisaitl, wingers like that have been.
Draisaitl's like a center winger, right? Like he plays center too. He plays a lot of center, so
he plays his best at wing on McDavid's wing.
Yeah, but he's been playing center basically this whole playoffs, or most of his time. And obviously, when you're on McDavid's line, you're not center.
Has he played in the finals this year? This season? Is he still playing?
Yeah. I mean that whole. So we can. All right, let's just get into the Florida series here because I saw this coming. Like I told you before. I'm like before the playoffs started. I'm like Florida's my team too. Like I just don't.
You said Florida. You're on the Florida train.
Oh, for sure. Like I've watched them last year. Like the only reason why Florida made it to the finals last year, the only reason why they lost to Vegas so fast was because they were just beaten up. I mean, their team was just, Kachuk couldn't put a jersey on. Ekblad had he had a broken leg or broken foot or something. You had like,
and
like they were
had a shoulder.
Yeah, like they were just like, and then and that was the thing. Like March or so after that series, after they won the cup, when they interviewed, he said like, "Oh man, we feel good. We can play a fifth round," and that's just the difference of where they were at. But I was like, Florida's and then this year they were even better. Like they picked up some players, some other guys stepped up. Like, man, they've had like.
Gustav Forsling's turned into a star defenseman.
Oh yeah, he's something. He's been their best defenseman. I mean, he's been their best defenseman in this playoffs, which is, probably the best.
Thank you, Jim Benning, for trading him away for nothing.
Well, he was picked up off waivers years ago. That might be the best waiver claim ever in like the history of the NHL, because that's a big one. He's had a huge impact. Like that team is everything.
Martin St. Louis will always get that one.
Yeah, that one too. But I mean, they're all up there. I mean, he's up there, right? Like,
yeah.
Forsling's a hell of
Forsling's definitely one of the better ones.
But they have no weak points, right? Like
I remember when he got traded by Vancouver, I'm like, I don't know if you want to do this trade. Adam Clendening isn't that good.
Yeah, you just don't know, because even Forsling at the start wasn't really, he wasn't the guy you see now, right? Like it's tough to
give up on him.
Yeah, it's tough to evaluate defensemen, young ones especially, right? You just have no. It's so hard because, like, as a forward, it's hard too. But like, if someone's got like a certain skill set or a great shot or something, like you can kind of see something. As defensemen, it's like it's just hard. It's hard to really read as a scout. I would think
it's the second hardest. It's after goalie. It's probably the hardest position to find.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of goalie, Bobrovsky, he's the $10 million man that's worth every penny right now. He's just playing out of his mind.
Yeah,
he's so good.
Yeah. He's probably the fourth best Russian goalie in the league.
Yeah. There's the Russian goalies just know how to play. Shesterkin.
That goalie factory is coming out.
Yeah, Canada's got to put some work in. They're not doing so well in the goalie department.
I'll know when the Four Nations tournament comes up. I'll know what it feels like to be an Oilers fan, watching McDavid and scoring goals and being exciting, causing trouble, and having goaltending issues.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I thought this before. Even when we were against the Canucks series for the Oilers, I was just like, man, I'm surprised that they're in the finals. To be honest, I just looked at, like they have the highest end of skill on their team on the top end, but after that, they're just like their bottom six like has moments.
Yeah.
But like compared to Florida, it's not even close, I think. And then you go to the D, like that one's just you know, like how do you read in the finals and you have like CC Nurse player and players like that, Desharnais who hasn't been playing, but like and then Skinner,
Yeah.
like hey, they got to the finals, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Not his fault. He hasn't. It's not his fault, but he hasn't been exactly Bobrovsky. And after watching Edmonton play, Vancouver, Dallas, they did the same thing. All their energy went to stopping Draisaitl and McDavid. They forgot to play their game.
mm-hmm. Yeah, Florida's
And
not like
Florida hasn't.
No, Florida's so structured.
They just keep stopping them and keep playing their game, and they've neutralized McDavid a bit more than most every other team, essentially.
Yeah, it just seems like
Paul
it's.
Maurice, and it has deserved a lot of credit.
Oh yeah, I mean, since he came in, right? Like there's a President's Trophy team, right? And then they go in and it's just it's personnel obviously, and also the way they play. They're just they're also a very structured team. They're physical. They're just they're a team that has guys on the puck at all times. They don't just try to take away space. They're on it all the time. So if you watch any of the games, like
players,
they're smart. But in any series that they've been in, like I've watched them during these playoffs, it's like when the opposition gets the puck, they have no time to make a play.
Yeah,
they have no time. There's two guys on them at all times. Like that's was the yesterday's goal. Like Nurse just coughs it up, and then it's in the back of the net. It was 3-1.
And same with Bouchard. Perfect blocks the pass, and then perfect pass right back to the Florida player.
That was Rodriguez, who's I think it's Evan Rodriguez has more points than the Tyler Oilers team right now. That's something.
The Oilers have more goals from their defense than their forwards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like if you stop, like, I mean, Kane is not even playing. He's injured. He's been injured basically the whole playoffs. You stop like McDavid, Draisaitl, and like what do they have? Like it's hard. They don't have somebody that can step up.
Hyman looks like he's been a byproduct of that. He is a byproduct of playing with McDavid.
At times, he's still a great player, but like, I mean, look at Florida. Like, I think he's a great player. I think he's good. I mean, he's not
a good player.
He's not a star. He's not a superstar.
He's good at finishing, which you need to do. But he hasn't. He can't create for himself. He's made to look better playing with McDavid and Matthews. He's a great complementary on that side.
No, he is. Yeah, he's a great like a player that works hard that you need on those top lines, right? You can't have three of the same type player. But even at Florida, like how deep their team is, like Matthew Tkachuk hasn't really been a big factor in these playoffs. He's just doing what he does, right? Yeah. But he's not like last year. You saw him; he was the guy. He was there.
He carried the team.
He carried the team. This year, they don't even need him to do much, like carry the team, and he's not. His ice time isn't even that high. It's 15 to 18 minutes a game.
You haven't even noticed. You've noticed him, but he hasn't been the past Tkachuk. He's just been a good player, going in, doing his thing. Barkov's been outstanding.
So good. He's no longer like we got to stop saying he's underrated. Like he's got his moment here that we can never say that ever again.
He shouldn't have been underrated a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. But now that everyone's watching him because he's in the finals, it's like, okay, we got to stop this now, guys. All right, like it's clear this guy is not underrated. He's every series he's shutting a player down, whether it's Pasternak, whether it's Panarin, now he's shutting down McDavid and Draisaitl. He's just so good.
Thankfully, he didn't get hurt by that dirty play by Draisaitl, which.
Yeah,
if Soucy got a game, how did Draisaitl not get a game for a blatant elbow to the face?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw that play. I don't know if that should have been a suspension on when I saw it.
If that I'm only basing it on previous thing where Susie got one game for that.
Cross check to the face, right?
Yeah, because
I
that
think.
elbow was very similar to what Truba would do.
Oh, Truba's was if Truba's connects. That's a different story. That was worse. That
And
was jumping off his feet, flying with an elbow
yeah,
extended.
and he got a big fine later in the playoffs, and that was a blatant elbow.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a. I like the physicality of Truba, but he's just a dirt makes those dirty
Yeah,
extended
yeah,
elbow hits. But yeah, like I mean, just to bring it back to Florida, like I just during the season before the playoffs, I saw Florida just on a different tier compared to the rest of the
yeah,
NHL. I'm like, they're just four lines, great defensive pairs. They have great goaltending, and on top of that, they're physical, right? Like they got everything. Like the Rangers have like four lines. They have maybe not, they still have good D, but they're not a physical team. And that's the bit. Yeah, I just in my head, I was thinking that this was probably going to be a 5-game series.
The
Somehow,
way
yeah,
Florida just took care of Carolina, who I thought was going to win the cup, and they just dispatched them fairly easily too. Like
yeah,
I
I
know
didn't,
Rangers
yeah.
took care of Carolina, but
Hmm.
I thought Carolina was going to put up a fight, and then just the way Florida's taking care of the Rangers, and it's a
Yeah,
great job. Like,
too
Paul
good.
Maurice deserves his kudos.
Yeah, I mean, just that Atlantic that's the best division in NHL for a long time. I mean, 7 of the last 6 years, 7 teams have been part of the Atlantic Division that have made the finals. One of them was the Bubble Wars, 2 Atlantic, technically in Montreal, Tampa Bay, but it's just every year. Like it's so hard. Like you have Boston, Florida, Tampa Bay. Like Toronto's also a good team. I don't know. I don't think
Yeah,
they're at that level. And then maybe there's a drop off after that, but like
I
you
think
know,
Toronto's pretty up there too.
yeah, they're pretty like they're all good. Like it's
Yeah,
such a gauntlet to get through. Whoever gets through that is making it to the finals pretty much every year because it's just the best teams, and it's a different style too. They're all physical as well. But
Ta-
yeah,
yeah, Tampa beat you on skill, speed, and skill.
this year maybe more, but like with the years they won the cup, they had speed, skill, but they had everything. Like they had guys
Yeah,
that were physical. Like they were a very physical team. Like now it's a little bit like all their guys that helped them step up. They lost because they just couldn't afford. Eventually, they priced themselves out. But they were a very physical team. Like they were a heavy team to play against.
you can you can play clean and physical.
Yeah, yeah, that's what you need, right? Like it's the being physical doesn't mean at all being dirty. I mean, sometimes you borderline, do some things, but it's just when a defenseman's going into a corner and he knows he's going to get hit every time.
Yeah,
That hurts, man.
yeah.
That hurts. You don't want to go there anymore.
It helps that they complain as well because only one team in the league does not complain. So it helps those to win the Stanley Cup. You just got to complain.
Yeah, well, um, yeah. Thinking about the other, I don't know. There'll be some interesting storylines going to the offseason. Utah got their well, no name, but
Utah
they got their
hockey team.
yeah UK Hockey Club. They got their jerseys out. I don't know if you saw them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like
yeah,
the colors. Simple, right? I mean, they have no time to figure out
yeah.
an actual logo and everything, so I don't
Yeah.
mind it.
I would like them to use purple to match the basketball team. That would have been cool.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I guess I could have seen that. Yeah,
Yeah, they're going to be a big factor in free agency because they have money to spend.
yeah, for once, which is nice. Nice to see.
Yeah,
Arizona was not
yeah,
fun to watch. I mean, that
yeah.
stadium, they had no money. Yeah, they pulled the plug.
They
They should have done it
they
sooner.
have a lot of money. They're way under the cap.
Hmm.
They have draft picks and prospects to trade. How many people will want to go to Utah? That will be a different story.
Yeah, I wonder what that is like, because you can't. Nobody's played in the building. They don't know what the team's going to be like, right? Because as a free agent, sometimes you're like, oh, I've played in that building. You know what? I like it. It's a good city,
Yeah,
blah, but like they don't travel to that city. They
yeah.
haven't played in that arena, so as a free agent, you have no idea. But some
It-
players, if they get the right contract and they have cap space, they're like, oh, well, I'll take this money.
well, they good. The good news is they don't have to play on Sundays. The bad news is there's nothing open on Sundays when you're down there.
Really? Have you been to Utah?
No, my sister's one of her best friends is Mormon, and when they were
Oh.
down there, they say, because they're all doing, re- they're observing their religion, in which I don't
Mm.
know enough about, but they don't do anything on Sundays. So,
Oh, okay.
oh,
Interesting.
the churches are open, but there's
Mm.
nothing else open, so you can't really do anything.
Mm.
You can go outside, but then it's also really cold during the winters.
Right.
It is really nice though. I've seen pictures, and Utah
Yeah.
is really nice.
Looks nice. Yeah,
But
especially the
keeping them
summer.
entertained will be a whole different story.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends, right? Like in the season, people are busy, and sometimes during the off season, they just go home. They fly to wherever they're
Yeah.
they're staying, and yeah, it'll depend.
If
Yeah,
you're a
we'll
young
see.
23-year-old, like I don't know if Clayton Keller is married, but if he wants to go to after the game, not much to do probably.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Arizona. Yeah, Arizona's got things to do, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's one
Right?
thing
Yeah.
with the basketball team hasn't been able to get. They haven't been able to keep their players because they get bored in Utah and there's nothing to do.
Right. Well, I don't know. I'd like Utah to be a decent team. Hopefully. I mean, yeah, Arizona. It's been so long since they've been a factor in the NHL, really. So it'd be nice to see, and some of those players that have been there for a while.
Really,
Um,
never. They've never spent the money.
No, I mean they've been very stingy with money because they didn't have it.
Yeah,
I mean it's yeah,
yeah.
they tried for a while. I mean Bettman tried for a long time to keep that team alive.
That team
Finally,
should have been moved
long
decades
time ago.
ago,
Oh yeah, yeah. It was yeah.
and not to Quebec City.
No, I don't know why. I'm not.
No one.
I don't want another team in Ontario. I don't want another team in Quebec City. Like I don't
Players
know.
aren't going to go to Quebec City to play. And
Especially when you have
nothing.
like a team like Montreal that's been there for forever.
Yeah, and same if they put a team in Toronto or Hamilton,
Mm-hmm.
then where I don't know how they're going to get fans because if you're a diehard Leafs fan, you're not going to change all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. No, and then you already have the Ottawa Senators too. If you don't want your
Yeah.
Leafs there, like it's yeah, three teams in Ontario. I don't know. I mean, I guess New York has a few teams, two New York
But they
teams,
all
one in
have
New
their fan
Jersey.
base. None of them are new.
Yeah, exactly. They've been around for a while, and they have histories, right? Rangers,
Yeah.
Devils.
Islanders, Sabres,
Yeah,
they're all established teams. No one's going in.
yeah. Um, yeah. Just to see if we hit on everything pretty much. I mean, I don't know anything else you wanna talk about
Yeah,
here as this little pop up
yeah. Canucks
podcast show.
have a lot. They do have a lot of cap room coming up, but most of it's got to be getting their is improving the team with this with the new same guys pretty much.
Hmm.
Just they they have it's one of those they have cap room but don't have cap room.
Right, yeah, it's like you have space, but you have holes to fill. So you need to either
Yeah,
get those guys that were already there, or
yeah.
find contingency
Third line
plans if you can.
winger, top
Yeah.
six winger is as I said throughout the playoffs. Like Pedersen's been hurt these last few months, and he confirmed it.
Oh, with
And
the
it's
Pedersen thing, did you hear about the flack that's or no, I don't know the flack, but the reporting of
from Frank Cervelli because he would have played through it if he was from Saskatchewan.
um
Yeah,
I
they're
thought
saying yeah,
Rick Dhaliwal said it as well. Maybe I'll have to no, I shouldn't quote someone. I don't know if they
yeah,
said it or not, but yeah, where he
yeah.
people are, I guess the Canucks organization was surprised to hear that
Yes,
he said he was injured when they felt like
yeah.
it wasn't too
I'm sure
much.
they
And
knew. They're
no, I'm sure they knew, but I think they were kind of like, it wasn't like we had some other guys who had
yeah.
injuries, ton of them, and I guess they weren't
I
happy
hate
with
to
that. But
swear on this podcast, but Frank Cervelli. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to say that swear word. He didn't just causing trouble.
yeah, he's
It,
in the media
he,
industry, right? He wants to cause a stir,
yeah,
I'm sure.
it's okay. It's okay for another player to play hurt, and yet he praised Truba for playing through his injury, but calling Pedersen weak for not playing for struggling while he was in, like, come on, and then saying just because he's from Sweden, he's weak. And if he was from Saskatchewan, like, come on,
Yeah, I
those are
mean,
bad takes.
I don't think it was the injury. I think it was like the severity of the injury is what was in question. If it wasn't that severe and everyone's bumped and using it as an excuse, but I don't know. No, we won't know the actual story if they were if the
Yeah,
organization was a little bit taken aback or not happy with that. No idea. Could just yeah, we'll never know really.
Not trading him. He's too good of a player.
No, I don't
He's gonna
think I
get
don't
healthy,
no
get
no
healthy
trading.
now, and then he's gonna dominate again. He's gonna become Patterson and raise the level of whomever's gonna play beside him. Maybe it could be Atu Ratu or Jonathan Lekaramaki, whomever
Mm-hmm.
or free
Yeah.
agent comes in.
Yeah, maybe it'll be Gensel, maybe he'll be on the wing there. I'm sure Canucks
Sam
fans will like
Reinhart
that.
would be lovely.
Oh, that would be lovely too. I mean,
Bring him
they're
home,
both.
but he's not taking a hometown discount.
No, there's no way. I mean, he's had his best career year, 57 goals. He ain't looking to take any discounts right now,
I
especially
would love.
if he pretty much, or if he will probably win the cup here. He also had a Stanley Cup to your pedigree. I don't think you're coming in cheap. So
Love it if he gave his hometown team, his childhood team, a hometown discount to play here.
it's a better, not a discount, but I think it's a better chance that they get Gensel as opposed to Reinhardt. But we'll see. Like, there's going to be bidding. There's going to be teams. So who knows? Because stuff will, I think that's the exciting time now. Stuff will start to shape up. The finals is almost over. So
it's been nice not to pay attention to the draft for once.
right, yeah,
To see some kid from 18-year-old kid try to dissect him this year has been. Canucks don't have to pick till the third round, so I was like, okay, I don't need
yeah,
to know anything about the draft.
right,
I don't know who's.
yeah. Well, that's a good. Yeah, when you're at the start of the draft, it's a sign that your team's not doing well. So it's good to not really be a factor. But free agency will be an interesting time, and maybe we'll see some big blockbuster trades. I like to see the
more
big trades.
cap room.
Yeah,
With the
yeah,
that big bump in the cap, maybe we'll see hockey trades again.
yeah,
That
because it's
don't
hard to
happen
see the
very
big
often
ones.
anymore.
Yeah, yeah, maybe Mitch Marner will be dealt. Who knows? We'll see. What was
I did read
year
something
before?
that Utah was looking into him.
Yeah, I mean they got the cap space. People throwing around a bunch of stuff like
Yeah, I saw
Nashville
some
or
really
Vegas.
bad fan reaction trades, or they're like giving away Marner for free, or
Yeah,
or
it's on.
or Marner would get 2 first-line players or a top prospect. So
No,
like,
no, no. They go. There's got to be like I'm thinking any team that's picking it up has got to have a contract already. He's going to be extended because you're not trading for 1 year. I wouldn't think. Because even if he's going to want to waive, he's going to be like, okay, I want to go to this team and I'll sign a deal with them, right? Like, why would he waive for like a 1 year, and why would someone pick him up for 1 year and lose him and spend assets on him? That just doesn't make any sense. So
big assets, big
yeah,
assets,
exactly,
right?
big assets, and it doesn't seem. I don't know. It's hard. It doesn't seem likely on paper, but then you see the situation. You're like, well, would he even want to play another year in Toronto with how bad it's going to be? Like he's not a guy that likes to deal with that kind of scrutiny.
Yeah,
So
I saw one deal. It was like Utah was giving up first-round pick, Dylan Gunther, Clayton Keller, and a
no, that's
multiple
not it.
draft picks. I mean, no, they're not doing
No,
that.
that's not it. No,
Utah
there's
doesn't
no
need
way.
to give up anything. They're literally almost like an expansion team with how much cap space they have.
Yeah, but they definitely
Except
would like to have
they
like
already
some
have players.
stars. Yeah, they have players, but they would love to get like some big name stars, right? To kind of grow their team in a sense. Whether that's through free agency or something, we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting, I think.
They have building blocks.
For sure, yeah. They definitely do.
Again, like I said earlier, like who's the thing? The biggest thing is going to getting people to want to play in Utah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's hard to tell how the arena, the fan base, the
It's not a
organization
good
shapes
hockey
up.
building.
Yeah, that's the thing I've heard. It's like I don't remember what the capacity is for the stadium. A little bit under NHL regular arenas, but
I think it's enough, but there's bad sight lines. I know from watching basketball back in the day, Utah fans are loud. They will
mhm.
they will be loud when they're into it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, it beats the whatever 5,000 fans that they had in Mullet Arena, so anything's better than that. Oh, I wish them the best.
Exactly.
They
Not too
get
much
better.
luck though. They play in the Western Conference. I don't want them too much.
Yeah, let's have them. Let's have more people talk about them. But we don't need them to win a cup or anything.
No.
That's a long time away anyway. If they were to ever get, they're not close. All right. Yeah, I'm good. Anything else? I think
No, I'm
we've
good.
rambled on long enough here. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, thanks for tuning in to the Canucks Chatter. We'll be, we'll see if anything crazy pops up with the
Yeah,
Canucks. Maybe we'll do a pop-up,
yeah.
another
Maybe a
podcast.
free agency rundown
Yeah,
after
free agency rundown. I
after
can see that
after
happen
July 1st.
after July 1st. Yeah. See what happens then, and after that, we'll, let you know our plans for next season and moving forward. But yeah, anybody who tunes in and listens to the live streams or watches these on YouTube or whatever, yeah, we
Thank you very much.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Still
And
mad props to our viewer out in Australia.
right.
Made my day.
Oh yeah, good day, matey. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and yeah, we'll catch you again soon.